So,
There'll be more.
yeah, anyways, I went through a couple pictures of it and put it on our HBC Facebook page. And then, I was, I don't know, remember the house, how the Boy Scout number?
I'll get that information.
Would you? All right, that'd be great. 'Cause I'd like to give them credit and you for the work.
No, I didn't know you.
Yes, you did. I know you did. I saw you out there, I passed by and saw you out there with me. Right.
So you were, good timing, because I was right about 10 minutes off the other.
You were probably mad.
No, avoid.
These are more like,
You know what I mean, but you can.
Yeah, those pictures on the window.
Did you see those ones about him too, Gary?
Huh?
Those ones about him, I did.
Yeah.
No.
What?
We don't have it.
I think she may have maybe given you just the new ones then. I don't know.
I brought,
Just keep both folders, once you
Well,
know
that's
the
I just
candidate's
sorted
name,
them.
you can just grab it.
So is this guy going or is he in?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta get started on that.
that one.
Is that pretty good?
Ready?
Oh,
No.
That one, I don't even know where, I think she already said.
You wanna do it?
I don't know. It's just not voting.
All right, so, the village workshop, July 2nd, 2019, at 6:33. And first on the agenda, we have Mr. Chatfield.
Thank you for taking the time. Matt Chatfield.
Hold on, I'm getting interrupted. Yes, sir. The pledge? We don't usually do that in workshops.
Okay.
Thank you.
Matt Chatfield, Executive Director of the Webster Economic Development Alliance. The Public-Private Partnership Village is a member of that entity. And we are working diligently on behalf of the village and the town in coordination with Xerox Corporation and other partners within New York State to facilitate economic development and investment on the Xerox campus. The Xerox campus is the second largest singular industrial facility in the Finger Lakes region, second only to East Bend Business Park as far as square feet and area. It's a major asset, yet it's completely underutilized in our community, and Xerox is continuing to downsize and exit buildings. And they do have a desire to either lease and or sell parts of their buildings, parts of the campus. But they've had trouble doing so, largely because the existing network of roadways and infrastructure that they have in place is very cumbersome as far as taking a certain building and maybe taking one building and leasing it off. So we've been in discussions with them regarding how can we go about bringing some roads into the public domain so that new parcels can be formed, and then buildings can be then divested from the campus, and new investment activity and job creation can take place in the community. To that end, we've identified a potential funding source to help rehabilitate the roads. In their current form, the village would not be in a position to take dedication of any of these roadways. And the handouts that I have right here in front of you, we're calling this the Economic Access Project. So right here on the map, the roads that are a reddish orange are, tentatively, conceptual even, right? Nothing's really moving forward, other than we're just talking and trying to come to some sort of plan. The roads in orange would be those that could be dedicated to the village. The areas in blue would potentially be new right-of-ways within the town of Webster. And then Mitchell Dean essentially would create, and Chiota could potentially create one continuous corridor that would stretch from Route 250 all the way to Basket Road, and that would become the new economic and industrial spine of our community, with access coming off of that for a series of commercial and industrial properties. So we've been working closely with the village on, just being able to analyze what could the costs be associated with having to rehabilitate these roads, what are their conditions? What would the potential cost be to the village to even consider adding to its roadway network? These are all good questions, we're still trying to identify the answers to those. As part of our investigation right now, a funding opportunity has become available at the federal level. So the federal government has a program called the BUILD program, and it's only for large projects that facilitate economic development within a larger area. The projects minimum are $6 million and up in scope and scale. And based on a preliminary engineering analysis of what it would take to rehabilitate these roadways and improve bicycle, pedestrian accessibility, improve their appearance and their function, and actually also even put them on a little bit of a road diet, shrink them down a little bit. The total project is around $9 million, okay? So the goal is to actually request money from the federal government that would be matched with state funds. So zero funds out of pocket for the village of Webster, other than maybe some administrative time if we were to be awarded the grant to have it locally administered. But as far as cash out of pocket, at this time, we're not proposing essentially a penny of cash out of the village coffers. We are writing actually 2 simultaneous grants, one to Empire State Development for state funds that would match the federal funds. Okay. So what we've done is we've even just kicked around conceptually, even just to start the dialogue with Xerox, we created just a draft memorandum of understanding. It's really just a draft that talks about, okay, how can we cooperate and investigate these opportunities without binding anybody to any sort of contract, any action items, anything that would require the expenditure of funds. But it's really just a good faith effort so that these government entities understand that in the end, there is a partnership here working towards the ultimate goal of bringing these roadways into the public realm if we can make it financially viable. So that was just a quick and dirty. I'd like to obviously give you a chance for some questions. So the federal grant is submitted July 15th, and the state grant is submitted July 26th.
726 Estate, geez. I drove down through there just to look at the whole, I'd worked in almost half of the buildings down there. And I just wanted to drive down there while it was supposed to be busy and there were bodies around. The roads, everything is in such disrepair.
Yeah.
It is just terrible. About the only vehicles that they had down there were they're Xerox vehicles. There wasn't any bodies, no warm bodies down there.
How many people work there now roughly?
2,750. And we're trying to keep every last one of them.
Sure.
Well,
And that's, there's a concerted effort to keep those jobs here in the community and potentially make this campus something that would be attractive such that they could potentially transfer other jobs from elsewhere in the world.
yes.
They are consolidating efforts around the world. The Xerox facility is the largest one that they have on the globe. And it's also the largest amount of overhead, so they're looking to reduce overhead. So any chance they can sell buildings, and exit the buildings, this would basically help facilitate that.
Because it didn't seem that that's where they were putting the effort. I've talked to an awful lot of people that I know that, they're directors, they're everything, and they're just going, I don't know, they're not doing anything with the buildings.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just,
Oh, man, I like this. I think it's a great project.
It's got a lot of potential.
Mhm.
And I'm okay with that but, you know, what concerns me is Xerox, are they really, do they have anybody that's interested in their buildings that you know of? I mean, there are a couple new businesses in there, I think building 300 is new tenants.
Yep.
New employees,
New employees.
yeah.
employees that have been transferred
Employees,
from
Yeah,
okay.
it's
downtown.
not, right.
And I'm familiar with Xerox too, because I did a lot of telephone work there, but, that's what everybody's asking is, so what's gonna happen to the campus?
Well, I
Are
think.
there other corporations that are interested in?
Well, I think the goal of this is not necessarily, the goal of this effort really is not to assist Xerox Corporation directly. Okay, the goal of this is to facilitate investment and job creation here locally to the extent that we can as a local government. So the goal is, you know, let's do what we can, let's set up the infrastructure
I agree.
such that a future entity, or Xerox, if Xerox decides to expand in certain locations, it's definitely compressing. You know, it's planning on compressing, it's no secret. It's planning on compressing into a certain percentage of the buildings. And the remainder of those buildings would be available for new investment and job creation, and that's our goal, is to facilitate that to the extent we can. We're talking the potential for thousands of jobs, should the proper entities be brought on board, but right now, the conditions aren't favorable to do that. And this is one step, probably one of the really only steps that the village can do. The village doesn't have its real own,
That's the only way we
the
can
village
help.
doesn't have its own funds to create jobs or, you know, really attract, you know, multinational corporations, but this is, you know, how the village can do its part to help make that environment ripe for success.
Anything that we can do seriously to help Xerox is to the town and the village's benefit. I mean, it absolutely is.
Well, this is the employment core, right? This is the
Yeah.
employment center of the community. Even when, I mean, obviously it was when there were 17,000 employees.
I know.
It's still at 2,700, it's still the largest employer in our community.
Yeah. Well, that's good investigative work. I like it.
Why we pay the big bucks.
So for me, what would be most helpful is if there was the will of the board to authorize the mayor to sign this or a similar memorandum of understanding. Obviously, Don White has been involved, he has reviewed this. The Xerox is still in the process of reviewing this document, as well as the town. We actually want a three-party agreement that brings everybody to the table, but it's not binding anybody to spending dollars. It's really just saying, you know, in the spirit of cooperation and partnership, we're looking forward, you know, we're looking to cooperate and move forward together.
You've talked with Don then, so he's.
We have communicated with Don, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you think, sir?
Yeah, it's just that,
Favor of it.
yeah, I'd like to kind of digest these words before we.
Of course. Yeah, I'm not expecting.
But I'm looking at if they have to be submitted by July 15th, July 28th, man, I think we have to hurry up.
The 15th is the pressing one,
I know,
yeah.
Got a short week this week.
and then we're not gonna have another meeting
Right, so I
because we've not
don't
done
I don't see what the issue would be. We're not, right now, we're not shooting out any out of pocket cost of the village.
nine.
I agree with Jerry.
Same with submitting,
Yeah.
same with the actual submission of the grant. It's not,
Right.
we're not proposing to incur any cost to the village. Obviously, the Alliance developed the grant application on the village's behalf. We're
And
struck-
is this pending, and read through it all, but is it pending the grants in this literature, like if you didn't get one or both?
Well, if you didn't get I mean, obviously, the federal grant would be dependent upon getting the state one.
Right.
Right.
So if we don't get it, is this null and void, are we going?
I don't think that necessarily is null and void. I mean, I think the goal is to continue working in partnership, because there may be another funding opportunity in the future that we would then go after. this is definitely shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
We're trying to get this in. I wouldn't call it a Hail Mary because I think there's a good
Right.
opportunity for us.
Yeah.
But our timing was tighter than we would normally like to see. There's just no question about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I
we get
wish,
the next draft, like we said.
I
Yeah.
just wish Don,
I'm in favor of it.
Don's already seen this.
and he's agreed. but-
100%, yep.
Oh, all right, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nobody said he had agreed with it.
Well, yeah, we just want to make sure that
They'll have to make the final.
before
change.
anybody signs anything, there may be changes that would need to be reviewed. The Xerox attorneys may have some changes that they
Sure.
want to see made.
But just as
And of
long,
course-
my concern was that Don has seen it and he agrees with what's in here.
Nothing would be proposed for signature unless Don was comfortable with it.
All right, okay, that's,
Okay, now your
I'm
motion.
okay with
that's,
it.
yep.
Agreed. I'm
Yeah.
in favor.
Mhm.
All good.
Great. Well, I
Because I think
appreciate,
this
I
is a
appreciate
good-
your time.
You'll be in touch, I'll probably here next week, maybe.
Well,
Definitely.
we
what do you
definitely,
want?
we don't have choices.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions of the board? From
So would we,
what we're doing?
would we be looking for a motion for him to sign that?
I need final approval.
Yeah.
Pending the final approval, because if not, you have to come back.
Yeah.
So I'd ask a motion for Daryl to sign it pending the MOU with Xerox in the town, pending Don's final approval.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Matt.
Great.
Yes, thank you very much, Matt.
Yeah.
Tell the family I said aye.
I will. Maybe I'll see you, maybe I'll see you.
Alright. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Alright.
Yeah.
Have a great Fourth.
You
You
too?
do?
Alright, so as we gotta keep moving here, the bills and warrants, I believe, myself and who?
I think it's you and Al.
Me and Al, we're gonna be signing them this week.
Yeah.
They're not prepared yet, so, I just need a motion to approve the upcoming claims and warrants, and then we will sign them this week.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Trustee Lancy,
Aye.
Mayor Byers,
Aye.
Trustee Belkane,
Aye.
Trustee Abolito,
Aye.
Trustee Lauer.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I don't know if anyone jumped on your email, you saw that we discussed last week, we discussed the policy manual, section
Yeah.
8-16 entitled sick time donation policy. Don had a bunch of changes, that were made, the new draft, or new copy was sent to you guys. I saw you chimed in, Jude.
Mhm.
So now, if anyone has any questions, now would be the time, if not, I think we'd be looking for a motion to, get this rolling. Did you get a chance to look at it, Daryl?
Yeah, did look through it.
Carl,
I'm okay with it.
you okay with the changes?
No, I was good.
I'm good, we got Don's blessings.
Yep. Alright. So that's for a motion to approve the policy manual, section 816, entitled sick time donation policy.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Trustee Lancy,
Aye.
Trustee Lauer,
Aye.
Trustee Belkane,
Aye.
Trustee Abolito,
Aye.
Mayor Byers.
Aye.
Motion passes.
So our next, village board meeting, July 9th, was canceled, and the next, village board meeting was rescheduled for July 25th, which also will be the organizational meeting.
Yes.
I think we have like 13 public hearings that night as well, don't we? So it's only two?
Oh.
It's two. But it seems like a lot, we're starting to pile on. So now I'm gonna ask, you guys have anything else? No business, I'd like
No.
to ask for a motion to close this meeting and enter into an executive session, to discuss matters leading to the appointment and employment of a particular person.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Lancy,
Aye.
Mayor Byers,
Aye.
Trustee Belkane,
Aye.
Trustee Abolito,
Aye.
Trustee Lauer.
Aye.
Motion
So for the sake of us being set up in this room, I'd like to, if you plan on staying, I assure you, you'll be out there to the sun sets and the moon rises. But if you are interested in doing so, if you guys wanna stay in another meeting room, that's fine. It's set up for another function, so that's why we chose to be in here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, Fred.
Aye, Fred.
See you, Fred.